I go by Birdie. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to finish it. Do you want me to read it? No, I'll read it. It's no, like how to end it. I'm not gonna read your speech. It's gonna be the exact same thing I said last year.
Hey, how you doing? I was with you yesterday. Yes. Can I talk to you about the first episode?
Oh, sorry. My zipper like sitting on your butt. United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amy, can you please read the oath of public meeting statement? Thank you. Roll call. Here. 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 Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Tonight is a scheduled budget meeting where the purpose is to focus on the review of the Roxbury Township 2026 budget. I respectfully ask that the public keep this in mind and remain focused on this important process for the residents of Roxbury Township. We would also like to make the statement that Roxbury Township remains firmly opposed to the proposal of a federal processing facility within our township's borders and unanimously passed resolution 2026-029. The Township Council has authorized all our legal counsel to pursue all available remedies under New Jersey state law to protect the interests of our community. At the same time, we continue to be actively engaged with our state and federal representatives, pressing for information that may be available to them from the federal government. We will also continue engaging and negotiating with the property owner at 1879 Route 46 to bring a community-friendly asset to this location. At this time, the council has no knowledge of a current proposal or contract in place for this address, and we remain hopeful the owners will stay open to discussion with us for the sake of our community. Thank everyone involved as we continue to navigate through this matter, keeping the safety of our residents, property, and resources as our top priority to come to a solution that is in the best interest of Roxbury Township. Moving on to item 4, reports, council liaison representative, council committee, new business, and old business. We will begin our budget process. I believe JJ.
As Mayor for the Department of Recreation.
126.
Thank you. Mayor Pratza, thank you for the opportunity to sit in front of you today and have the discussion about our budget presentation for recreation for 2026. The process has been ongoing for quite some time. We're excited to be able to show all of the great things that we've been doing in recreation, as well as show the outlook of what 2026 could be. Right, so some of our program details associated with recreation. We have 20 plus major programs as a whole. And then when you start to break out some of those major programs, the sub-levels, we're running about 130 different pieces associated with recreation. And that breaks down to grade levels, that break down to swim lessons, swim team, football, wrestling, cheerleading, all of those different pieces associated, and not to mention some of our fantastic camps that we run throughout the year as well too. So when we start to analyze and look at a lot of the different things that we are doing, we're very thankful for the digital board. There's a great photo of that. The social media aspect where we're advertising for our day camps, and then also using the flyers through the school to be able to get our information out to those all involved for our programs. Just a snapshot of what we've done in 2025 so far. In the winter, we've had 840 participants. In the spring, 719. In the summer is a little over 2,500. In the fall is a little over 800 as well too. So for the programs that we run in conjunction with the beach, we're almost at about 5,000, and then you start to work in the co-sponsored sports as well too. Our softball, our baseball, our lacrosse, our soccer. We are serving close to a little over 6,000 residents throughout the entire season, which is a great accomplishment for our township, and a great accomplishment that we take pride in our recreation department as well too. So very, very happy about all of that. Right, got a little bit of everything for you this evening, right, just to show some of the fun and the enjoyment. I hope just one of our games, you can see the excitement, you can see how packed the location is. A lot of fun. Just trying to get it on here. Right, a lot of great things ongoing at the turf field and at one of the 17 of our complexes as well too. So it's not only sports, but recreation department hosts and does a lot of variety of things. For us, we run a lot of special events as well too, and thankful for all those times that you guys have been there to give out medals or help with the event or just show appreciation throughout the season, right? To be able to run all of these great things for the community is a wonderful thing. From the fishing derby to the beach blast to the Roxbury 5K to the kids try harder to the lifeguard competitions to the event with the holiday tree lighting and menorah lighting, and having Santa come in on that fire truck. In addition to all those things that we specifically run, we probably assist in running and hosting a variety of other pieces, whether it's birthday parties or wedding ceremonies, vigils, PTA meetings, the MS walk, different groups coming in to host their meetings, whether it's Drakesville, whether it's a Rotary senior event or a Rotary rock painting event, the MS walk, British car show, the Father's Day car show, all of that stuff is encumbered in the things that we help, right? And I can't go through all of them, but there's a tremendous amount of work that's done for the recreation department and the staff there to help put on all these fantastic things that are great for the community, and happy to do so each day. And it's a lot of fun, and it's great to see the community come out to a lot of these events as well too. Right, and these are just a little bit of a snapshot of some of the events that we are running. The center one there is a snapshot of our Roxbury 5K, right? And the one on the right is one of our football events that was sponsoring tackling cancer, right? And that's we're developing that throughout the season. And then the last one on the left is our fishing derby that us and DPW put on. Just a small snapshot in terms of what we have to offer for the community, and you can see the fun and excitement that's associated. We're appreciative of the fire department bringing out their boat, doing those things as well too, to add value to the community through and through. So thank you to everyone that's involved and volunteers for all of our events as well too. Couldn't be happier about all of those pieces. touched upon it a little while ago, but the beach blast, right? And here's a snapshot from the fire department that shows the size and scale of how big the event has gotten, right? And the drone footage of the fireworks and how wonderful that community event has been for everybody for the past couple of years and will continue to do so. I know that there's a tremendous amount of pride within Roxbury for this event, and if you haven't seen it, I hope that everyone takes the opportunity to come down and hang out with us for that night. It is a great time, so a lot of fun and excitement there. Right, so a lot of those pieces are associated with the fun and excitement, but not only does the Recreation Department run sports and other pieces and camps and fundamental pieces, we also oversee public assistance. And public assistance is associated with our groups that take care of those that are in need. And there's a couple of snapshots on there. The woman up on the right-hand side is Carol. She just recently passed away. Wonderful person. She volunteered for the town for over 33 years. So those of you who know Carol, she's a staple down at Social Services. And Eva is down in the lower picture, and she's our director. And she does a wonderful job there through and through. Couldn't be more proud of what public assistance has done. And a lot of times public assistance doesn't get the notoriety, but they work hard day in and day out helping those in need, and those are a wonderful thing. In the recommendation, we're keeping true to very closely associated with the past couple of years in terms of the amount of what we're looking for.
Page 115.
We're on page 115.
Any questions with the public assistance account? Seeing none, gonna move on to the next. Recreation also oversees senior activities, and this is our senior groups. The senior groups are made up of two different clubs, the Ever Young and the Roxbury Seniors. They meet every other Thursday down at the Rec Center.
We're on page 120 of the budget.
With those groups, they follow suit in different activities. Each have their own activities that they do run individually and trips as well too. For this budget, we did have a small typo on there in terms of the amount per person. I think that we're going to work on rectifying that typo for council to take a look at, moving the dollar amount from each individual person from 38 to 45 for this annual year.
So just to be clear, because I actually have had, sorry, Aaron,
No, go ahead.
I've had questions from the seniors if we were going to be able to give them a boost, because as we all know, goods and services have gone up everywhere, and they are now a little bit more limited to their trips and their subsidies.
Absolutely.
So they wanted me to push to get a boost in their per person allocation.
Yep, absolutely.
Seems like the recommended amount is more than just that $7 increase. I'm sorry. You said the increase in the overall budget looks like it's about 25%. Not just the 5 to 7% higher.
Yeah, the other increase is from the salary and wages. That's associated with our 2 dial-a-ride drivers, associated with dial-a-ride program.
Okay, so to be clear, so just to clarify, we are going to be offering the seniors more per person. How-
That is the
can I-
recommendation.
What can I report back to them? Because they will be very eager to hear this.
The recommendation,
Yeah.
if approved, would be to 45.
Actually, it's not that, it's the materials and supplies, I guess, that's $750 for that. I was just looking at subcategories too, computer, TV.
219. Yeah, it looks as if that they've traditionally gotten $750 each year. It does not look like they've been using that amount. We left it in questions on senior activities? The next slide here is recreation admin. This is associated with the full-time employees and part-time
Page
employees.
126.
Got a great photo of Ryan and I in the office there, as well as the 3 championship trophies that we won in football this past year. So we're proud of those things, and the commitment to the department for all the hard work associated with day in and day out. The number reflected here is similar to what it's been in the past for the sub accounts, and the top is full-time and part-time.
Correct, takes into account the state mandated increases to the wage, correct?
That'll be on the next slide for under leisure. Any questions on rec administration? Okay, the next leisure activities and operations
128.
is broken into the 3 next slides. So this has to do with our summer employees, and then it also has to do with all of our programming as well too. So it's day camp and the beach, our other camps, and our Camp Capra is the biggest portion associated with the expenses in terms of the full-time and overtime associated with the salaries and wages. The bottom is broken out and usually is on the bottom. I'm gonna give you a snapshot on the next slide of the salaries and wages and where we've been. And Fred, to your point earlier, when I started a number of years ago, our minimum wage was $8.80 for our employees. Our minimum wage that's state mandated now is $15.92. That's a large increase, and we've all felt that, right? In that increase across the board, things cost more than they used to. This slide here gives a representation of the trajectory where we've been. We've done a great job, and in conjunction with council, working on the fee ordinance ahead of time, so that Rec Advisory approves it, and then it becomes fully all put together for your insight once we get into the end of the financial year, and we can get that approved so that we have balancing numbers. And we've done a great job over the past 8 years, really balancing those numbers ahead of schedule, so that we are incrementally taking those necessary steps, so that we're balancing out that minimum wage requirement, the cost of what our product is in terms of how much camps cost and how much the beach costs to operate, so that we are trying to be at a net zero. In the past couple of years, we've done a tremendous job of being just under, and we're super proud of that opportunity to continue that trend. This year is no different, right? The trend for continuing for the salaries and wages will increase just because of the amount of summer employees that we do have.
Deputy Mayor has a question.
Under sub-account 202, football, we went from where we spent 30,000 to right up to 46,000. Something new that we're doing with football, these extra 16,000.
Yep, so you're on the next slide. I'll slide that. Give it 1 second.
I was on page 128 of the defendant.
Yep, so that's in this slide. This is broken out on your sheet, but I'm on the same page as you as well too. So we've had to increase. We've had some tremendous success in all of our programs. Right, we're servicing over 6,000 community members throughout the entire year, and winning breeds people's opportunity to want to come and join and play. And with that, we've had a tremendous amount of people increase to it, but we're not subject to costs staying the same, right? And we talked to Paul earlier, the cost of a football isn't what the cost of a football was even the year before. Those numbers continue to keep rising. The cost of certifying our football helmets continues to rise. Some of those other costs associated with referees and other pieces associated with the gameplay for our athletic trainers to be there that are mandated by the league, and then the league dues all are continuing to rise. And that's the piece that's difficult in our job to do, because we need to have that foresight in terms of where is this trending to, and try to balance out some of those numbers so that we're prepared for that. And this is an opportunity to be ahead, not to be right where we need to be going forward for the next year with the amount of teams and players that we have.
So just to be clear, there is an offset piece, right?
100%, yes.
And we're collecting 100% from the
Yes, 100, yes. Yep, no. Any other questions on the sub-accounts, all of these programs? We did have a change on here that I did want to mention. So the top line, the first 202, tennis and pickleball. As you know, council, we had the opportunity to continue that Kiwanis court, right, to expand on that location there. We did not have a line item. So JJ and Val and Ryan, we all worked together to make sure that we did have a line item in there. We're gonna have some soft costs associated with badges and the RFID chips that we've talked about in the past. This gives us that opportunity to be able to have a line item, to be able to spend the money needed in order to get the passes associated for those people as well too.
So,
Sub-account 202 still, right, day camp, team travel, camp Capra. What led to the severe increase?
Sure, absolutely. I appreciate you bringing attention to it. We use our school buses, right? And we operate differently than the school does. We are 6 months in a different direction. We did absorb different costs from the school in terms of our transportation, in terms of getting our kids to the locations that we had previously scheduled. We do need to schedule our pieces way in advance, so we lock in the best rate and the best price. When we did get the bill for the buses, and we did get the bill for some of the locations that we ended up going, what we had approved by council and what we had our forethought in when we were adjusting our fee schedule wasn't exactly what we had foreseen. It was a little bit higher. So you'll see some of the costs here are a little bit off in terms of what we thought was going to be. Isn't a perfect outlook for these specific clients.
Were you able to go back and negotiate with them any additional reductions, or just seeing a $5,000 less request for the same line?
So we're trying to make some adjusted, appropriate changes within the program, specifically for day camp and our playgrounds. Not that it's going to take away anything, but we're just trying to modify within to try and restructure some of our finances to the best of our ability so that we can have a better outlook moving forward.
Councilman Hall?
This is, unfortunately, some of this stuff, folks, is a moving toward custodial negotiations for the schools, bus driver negotiations for the school. We don't necessarily find these things out until after the fact. The cost of referee fees, joining certain groups, it becomes very difficult for these guys to find this thing out, prior to, the budget coming in. So it's, that part of it's a moving target. We know about the minimum wage piece going up every year, but some of those other things are a little complicated.
I would suggest maybe scheduling a meeting
We've already done that.
with the schools and getting a yearly rate, so it's locked in, we know what it is.
Yeah, that's exactly.
You good, Councilman Hall, you good?
No, I'm good with that.
Councilman Hall?
Fred, I just wanted to touch on tennis pickleball. We did set it up so you need a scan to get into the cage.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so we, us and Steve from DPW, we've been working on that in terms of getting that appropriately set for the springtime. When we're ready to be able to unveil that, we'll let council know and go forward from there.
Any other questions?
Next is a smaller account, and Val, if you could give me a hand on this one. This is Senior Citizen and Disabled Resident Transport Assistant Program. This is a portion of our ride that gets offset.
This is just the grant that we get. We get a $7,200 grant. I take that grant and I apply it to
last slide is a snapshot in terms of where we are, right? And you look at for 2025, right? As close as it can be, the budget that's associated, the salaries and wages, and how that compares and contrasts. We're as close as we usually are each year. We did have the opportunity this year to bring in additional revenue for rentals, so we're happy about that. Gaining revenue for the township, we're happy to do so. Happy to do so.
Brett, Ryan, thank you very much for your presentation. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the round of applause. Appreciate it. I'll be very quick. I am going to start off with a capital improvement presentation. I believe it starts for us. So I will say that the capital budget presentation for DPW does jump around a bit because it does cover many different departments, vehicles from other departments. So it's not totally linear, the page numbers in this presentation, I will say.
What page are we on?
Start 202.
Same when I get this one.
Did you download the latest one? Did you add the capital budget to that?
Line 202 is. No.
I had the hard copy.
So Fred has sent it.
Do you have the capital budget on the township website?
Yeah. If you go to the PDF, look for page 204. They put it at the end.
I got the operating, but the capital just disappeared. Yeah, that's, it disappeared on me.
Go to the website, go to proposed budget.
Yeah, that's the operating one.
No, they put it on the back. So this is page 202.
Start off here.
So the all the way
Oh,
down.
it's
For
way
those who don't
down.
know me, my name is Steve Season, I'm the Director of Public Works. To my right is Paul Lavelle, he's the Assistant Director of Public Works. So we're gonna start off and talk about sidewalks, and one of the newer programs that Public Works has initiated as of mid-2025. We were able to, through council's approval last year, attain some equipment where we are able to remove trip hazards that previously existed, of trip hazards that are less than 1.5 inches in deflection from the adjacent sidewalk slab. This program has so far been quite successful. We're able to tackle a lot of sidewalk, a lot of linear feet of sidewalk annually, ultimately for a short capital improvement expense last year. You know, there's a little bit of a learning curve, but the staff is doing well with it now. They're definitely getting more accustomed to the operation, and obviously that's a finished product there. You can see in the picture on the left. But ultimately we targeted, I think we got about 0.4, 0.5 miles done last year, correct, Paul?
Yep.
So about 0.4 miles completed last year. Naturally, it was our first go at this type of project, for the type of program. We had some minor equipment breakdowns. We had other things come up throughout the calendar year. So in 2026, we are targeting 0.9 linear miles of sidewalk, and the roads on the right there, which are a little bit difficult to see, those are the roads that we're anticipating visiting this year to address the sidewalk lips that are 1.5 inches or less. The sidewalk slabs that are greater than that, I will touch on now. So the township has been replacing sidewalk slabs and ripping out and replacing sidewalk slabs for about the past 25 years. And a lot of it has just been, it's a little bit slower of a process. There's a lot that goes involved with replacing a sidewalk slab. As you can see, our previous program didn't even take into account 1.5 inches, 2 inch, 4 inch, 6 inch. We ripped out and replaced every sidewalk slab that was lifted, which, as you can imagine, prolonged the efforts. So one thing that we're looking at this year is to revamp this program. We have met internally several times, and we're hopeful that rather than utilizing a contractor, which we have done previously, we're anticipating removing the profit margin from the contractor and partner with some union staff members that will be hired on a temporary basis and retain them for the duration of the allotted funds that we get annually. So that is subject to change. There's no commitment. If we get $1 million, we can do $1 million worth of work. If we get $50,000, we can do $50,000 worth of work. We are anticipating that that should extend our funds by about 30%. We should get about 30% more production utilizing that type of program than we have previously, and ultimately, I think we're really going to be making significant progress for the residents in town of addressing all of our sidewalk issues. So moving on to, this is just a snippet of what we did this year. So we did 0.3 this year. We've broken it down per area, per zone. Next year we're targeting 0.9 miles. This is all done, the scarifying program is done with existing staff and equipment. The rip out and replace, as I had just mentioned, that is going to be with contracted employees. A little bit more extensive, as there's tree removal required for that and some other components that are necessary for materials and such. Council, feel free to stop me at any point as I'm moving along through the presentation. So we move along into our vehicle replacement program. So one thing I'd like to point out is the vehicles over the course of the past 10 years, there's been some challenges with vehicles. One of those items being COVID presented a really difficult position for the township. It was hard to obtain vehicles. You were limited in what you could buy. There just really wasn't much out there to acquire. So we've held on to some vehicles a little bit longer than probably we should have, so they're past their prime. And there's a lot of vehicles that are due this year for replacement. So I'll run through them. And again, feel free to stop me at any point. Some of these are not my department, but I'm just covering them as a brief overview for
Steve, do we have
visual purposes.
Excuse me, do we have a complete inventory of all our vehicles?
Yes, we do.
Awesome, you get that?
Yes, we'll provide that to you.
And, along with their, I'm assuming it has mileage, costing mileage, or
Yes.
purchases and all that stuff?
Yes.
I see that. I don't know if we've had an increase in fleet or what, but I think we're gonna take a hard look at it.
Okay. Later in the presentation, Jim, I'm going to talk about a recommendation I have for the fleet, but we will certainly get you that information at the next for the next meeting.
I can fire your lead, I'll let you do this presentation. The reason for the recommendation is what we covered. Appreciate the time for him to go through and show you some of the challenges.
I'll try to make this quick because again, I got a lot of slides to cover tonight. So this is the fire prevention vehicle. Fire prevention is, the vehicle's a little bit up there in mileage. It's used often. It's a 2013. It is pretty much at the end of its useful life in that 10 to 12 year cycle. So we are looking for replacement on that. RX-16, if you recall, council, this is a vehicle that we pushed out of the budget last year, just for funding reasons, and we are recommending that vehicle move back into the budget this year. I would strongly recommend that we proceed with this vehicle. We incurred pretty significant repair bills on that truck, as you can see. In the past 3 years, it's been an expensive one to maintain. I will say, for those who may not be aware, there was an act that went into place that was recently repealed that presented significant challenges in the diesel market, where manufacturers were pretty much unable to produce diesel chassis. It had a lot to do with electrification of fleets. It's since been repealed, but naturally, when the manufacturers weren't able to sell their trucks because they were required to sell one electric truck before you could sell 10 diesel, the costs skyrocketed in one calendar year. So that same truck last year, which was about $275, $250, is now $375,000, which is unfortunate, but it's the reality of the market. It's shifted in 1 year. This vehicle is actually due to be replaced by the sewer utility. So the sewer utility is looking to replace their jet vac. That vehicle ultimately, when it is replaced, will go into DPW's fleet and replace the jet vac that is in the one as you see here that is in the road department. So this one incurs pretty substantial repairs annually. It's an expensive.
Where's that listed in the capital? Is it on the?
This one is technically on the road department.
It's not listed on the.
It's actually, we
It's
have-
through sewer.
Right, we're gonna buy one for
There's an
sewer, and
offset on this
sewer's
one.
gonna give them their jet vac.
It's hard. This
So
is,
you'll
like
see
I
the
said,
new
it's
one
not
in the
linear.
sewer. But
So in the replacement cost, if you look on the slide, it's replaced by RX 54 sewer. So if you want to need to reference back, that's where it shows.
So, Steve, why would we hold that? If we're putting $18,000 a year, you're gonna take it over the road department, is that gonna be 25,000 to keep it up?
That's the current repair history on the road department jet vac.
You're getting rid of that.
We're getting rid of this one.
Literally getting rid of it.
We are literally getting rid of this one. The one from the sewer department doesn't have the same repair history. We have replacement cycles where things come out of sewer, they go to DPW, they live their life cycle in DPW, and then they're retired from
So,
the
so the one coming out of sewer is better than a 2009,
much better.
and the repair costs on it have
Much better.
much less.
Yes.
We got it.
What's the cost of that?
This truck, Melanie's gonna be presenting her utility budgets at the next meeting, but I wanna say the cost on that somewhere around $750 for that truck. It's a very specialized, expensive piece of equipment. And it is highly utilized by both
Let's
road
get into
departments.
this or not, if it's listed under sewer,
Million.
Okay.
That is the startup number.
I can't speak for Melanie, so I'm just giving an estimate.
Valdo was $1 million as well.
Moving on. So RX 29, this vehicle we are not recommending for replacement, but I did want to reflect that this was initially proposed for replacement in the budget cycle. This is one of the vehicles, as council may recall, when we sold off the last garbage truck. This was going to be consolidated for a multi-purpose type vehicle, the hook loader that we previously discussed. So this vehicle is not going to be replaced per se directly. This will be broken down a little bit and shared, I guess you could say, with other vehicles. So this would, there is a cost, but we're not reflecting it. So it's showing $524,000.
is that the hook loader?
That's correct, Jim.
Because you do reflect the back.
Yeah, so I'm reflecting the hook loader cost. Obviously, it's not a great depiction because I'm not replacing a $500,000 truck with a $50,000 truck per se.
So you don't know what that costs.
$524,000. So the hook loader is ultimately replacing the rack body truck, the garbage truck that was in the budget, and the bucket truck all came out for one hook loader. It's a multi-purpose vehicle.
So we sold off the.
yeah, you'll see the offset for the sale at the bottom there, $140,000. So even though the full price is there, $524, we take out $124,000, and that's what we're gonna offset.
Moving on, this is another utility budget, utility department vehicle. The water department is looking to replace their escape. Sewer department, same thing. So these are on a 5-year replacement history or replacement plan. They serve 5 years in the sewer department, transfer to the DPW department. They last about 5 to 7 years, and then they're retired thereafter. That's the plan we've been on for a number of years we've gotten back to that. It seems like we got away from it for a few years. I think during COVID, we're getting back on that plan to help the rest of the
Yeah, I remember that, and have we been eliminating the vehicles that
Yes.
is replacing on the township side?
Yes.
The public side of that?
Yes. Yep. So we're getting back into a more regular replacement cycle. Getting away from it hurts our fleet. So, you know, we're going to try to get back to that, stay to that 5 years and other cycles of whatever we're determining the cycles of the vehicle are. As I mentioned previously, so I'm sorry, I said 750, but it reflects $1 million. This is the sewer department vehicle. You can see that their repair history on the bottom there. It's less than ours, but I will tell you that most of their repair costs are outsourced to the manufacturer. Our repairs are generally done internally. So our repair costs will probably go down quite a bit from what's reflected there. RX-43 is an engineering department vehicle. That is another one that is technically due for replacement. It's a 2014 Escape. Fairly low repair history. This vehicle ultimately probably could be transferred to another department. But you know, once we determine what all the funding allocation is through the capital budget, we'll be able to make a better recommendation on where that vehicle may go.
And probably something that we better discuss when we discuss it.
Yes. RX-64 is another one. It's technically due for replacement, but this one, again, as I mentioned, the previous vehicle, it could be discussed for a future replacement or reallocation elsewhere. RX-71, these Jeeps, I will tell you that they really do need to go. So if there's one recommendation among some of the others, this vehicle does need to be replaced. It's very difficult sometimes when they get a little bit older to get replacement parts. So it's very costly at times to get parts and timely at that. 83 is the other Jeep that's in the fleet. You know, fairly low miles, but difficult to maintain with the part availability that's currently out there. It's an 09, it's certainly due. RX-86,
These are the only two Jeeps we have in the fleet.
that's the last two we have in the fleet. They didn't hold up too well, unfortunately, during the course of time. RX-86, this one we've worked with Courtney, we've worked with Sue. This is a very special vehicle, specialized type vehicle. It's an animal control van. We've looked at changing the van out for something more conducive for Sue's operation. There are requirements by the state that we need to follow for the safety of both Sue as well as the animals that are in the back of the vehicle. So we spec something out that we've looked at other townships that surround us to get the right recommendation, get the right fit for Roxbury, and we've estimated that at $95,000. So ultimately, the recommendation that I'm making, and one of the challenges that we've had with managing the fleet is there is a lot of departments that oversee their own fleet per se. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just the forecasting of where vehicles are going to go, what vehicles to choose. You know, expanding fleets, shrinking fleets. It just doesn't seem like everybody's on the same page. So ultimately, I think there needs to be a little bit more unity in how the vehicles are suggested for replacement, and we are recommending that we establish a vehicle subcommittee to kind of look at this a little bit closer. This doesn't have to be during the budget cycle, but I think this needs to be discussed with key department heads of the departments that manage several vehicles or a number of vehicles to get a better grasp on this. We realize that the fleet has probably grown over the years. There's certainly reasons for that. But
This is where I'm getting, as you know, that's what I'm getting to, because we made a set policy, we think vehicles are exiting the program and they're not exiting the program. So that increase comes extra labor costs, insurance, and all those things that go along with it. So I like to see what we had 10 years ago and 9 years ago versus today.
So, unfortunately, the programming that we've had for years, it doesn't give clear data as to how big the fleet was 10 years ago, 9 years ago, 8 years ago. I can tell you in general terms where those changes happened, but that's something that we can certainly discuss at a future meeting. But but there are changes. We have seen it grow. We have seen certain things shrink. But it just, the work order programs and whatnot that we've had, just it doesn't depict it. It doesn't have the availability.
Yeah, I wasn't looking to dig into it tonight, but.
Understood.
That's got to be somewhere, I mean, we ensure that we maintain it, not be counted somewhere.
It just doesn't show the allocation per department.
Councilman Hall.
Is recreation on there twice? Should that be 6 or should that just be one of those lines?
That's redundant.
Okay.
So as part of the recommended fleet, we want to unify fleet under Public Works, one department, and have this fleet committee representing the larger departments that have representation up there and have representative.
Any questions on the fleet? So this is just a snippet, I'm not gonna harp on it, but ultimately, moving the vehicles out a year, kind of stacking things, we get these wild fluctuations in prices. If you folks have questions on later on this slide, feel free to ask, but ultimately, if we get to a better place where we're replacing our average of what I'm recommending more along the lines of 5 vehicles a year, you're not gonna really get wild fluctuations. You're gonna kind of stabilize it somewhere in the range of $700,000 a year. Right now, we're at, over $1 million, well over $1 million. So I think if we get back to a better plan, the out years, and I'm not saying that this is a 1-year fix, 2-year fix, this may take 5 years, 6 years, but it'll be a better managed asset moving forward. This is the one vehicle that I'm aware of that we are gonna be swapping out from the police department into another department, utilized by wherever we determine would be the best fit for a charger. We're gonna step into roadway resurfacing. I'm gonna let Paul talk a little bit about this as well. Paul helped prepare a lot of this information. But over the years, the township has done a great job, basically following the recommendations of the township manager on how much money we're allocating towards our roadways. Through our road AI program, we're able to see some shortfalls that I think we need to be able to target moving forward. It was a helpful tool in determining where our funding needs to be. Certainly, this gives a brief overview of DOT grants, the amount of miles we did per year and things like that, but it does vary from time to time depending on what neighborhood you're in. This year we know we have a lot of paving coming up. We have a lot of gas work still happening in town, which is fantastic. Helps us offset our costs here in Roxbury. But the funding levels will be indicative of where we can and how much roadway we can target in 2026.
You noticed there was no gas offset in 23 where you were.
There was not. They did not do a lot of gas work during that time. There was some. Are you talking about the CDBG offset? Yep.
No, the gas company offset is what we did, right?
That's reflecting a different program. If you recall, when Rick Blood was here, they offered way more than we get now. Now we're getting half with at best. It's something internally that we're working on, a new ordinance, to make sure that the township is getting the appropriate treatment after the roadway has been ripped up for gas work. So we're working on revising that, but they're not as willing to provide all the paving as that they have done in the past, unfortunately. Some of the projects that are recommended in the budget, we have since made some cuts, so they may not be reflective in the budget. I'll let Valerie and JJ grab onto those, because it's been a while since I prepared this. So, buildings and grounds, we are recommending at a cost of $86,000. This front door and steel doors at DPW and Town Hall. Some of them, a lot of them, it has to do with rock salt. Really, that's ultimately what it comes down to. But that is a recommendation. This is a recommendation basically to fund the difference in the CDBG project. So we have attained grant funding these are two separate projects. One was in 2024. That is the rear bathrooms, the senior center, social services entrances. We received a grant of almost $95,000. We're basically looking for about $12,000 to help with architecturals. The purchasing component of this is much more difficult than your typical project that we would probably host here in Roxbury, given that it's federal funding. 2025, we received $50,000 for the front entrances to recreation and health, which is great. They're going to be ADA compliant. We're looking for $12,500 to help with the architecturals on that as well. I believe this may have been removed. So this was a recommendation initially, but due to budget constraints, we are electing to move this out until 2027. Town Hall parking lot, it is well needed, but due to budgetary constraints, this one may have to move out another year. This is for our HVAC replacement program. This has been, I would say, very successful since we started this a number of years ago. We've generally allocated a certain amount of money, and we do as much as we can annually with the funding that we receive. Our repair history and repair bills have gone down tremendously over the last handful of years, just by being proactive in our replacement program and staying on top of things, not having 30-year-old units on the roof and whatnot. So this has been really successful. I'm recommending another $50,000. We have some identified projects that we have out there. Incentives have gone down, unfortunately. The BPU, the way they run their program hasn't been the greatest. I will say it lightly. So, we're recommending another 50 to be able to accomplish a few more projects in town. I'm going to go quickly over this one, but ultimately this is the Parks Department building replacement, which also encompasses a storage area for the recreation folks and the sports groups that we have previously discussed. This project likely is more of a 2027, potentially early 2028 type project. So this one can be discussed further.
Just push it back another year.
Yeah, this is just a lot of planning that goes into this one. So we're working on that one internally. We're hoping to get, say it again? Working on getting permits, which are very timely, unfortunately, with the DEP. Just a couple pictures of the existing building. Moving into the Parks Department for the capital budget, some things that we have recommended here are the township dugout improvements. Council, as you may recall, we have done this over the past several years. We've done netting improvements, we've done some roof structures. So this year we are looking at Berkshire Valley and Nowron, which would be welcome sites. Nowron and Berkshire Valley have both grown in the past couple of years in their usage, which I'm sure Brett and Ryan can attest to. And the Kiwanis tennis courts. So this, Valerie, we can talk about this one more. This was ultimately a placeholder in the event that the funding that was allocated in 2025 is not enough. Initially, we didn't plan for access controls in 2025, so this is really a placeholder. I think this is something that we may leave on the budget sheet, but not fund. Correct, Valerie?
Yeah, it's not, it most likely will not. I have it at zero.
Didn't we just have $2,500 on the rec budget for?
That's administrative costs for RFID readers. This is more of the infrastructure. This is the actual fence components, the mag lock systems, things like that.
And theirs was
Cameras.
Theirs was the soft good, right?
Yes.
Swipe card.
That's going to be a perpetual expense on recreation then. This is one time.
So we're not gonna have typical, we're not gonna be, locked quarters?
There will be locked doors. Like I said, this is a placeholder. I think we have enough funding in what was allocated in 25. So we're gonna still reflect it in the budget, but we're not going to fund it through the ordinance, correct?
We think there's enough money left in the project cost that we're gonna be able to fund it without putting it in the budget. So that's why it's zeroed out in the budget.
Yes. Thank you. Soccer goal replacement. So this is heavy use turf field soccer net. They're moved around frequently just for all the different sporting events. Unfortunately, they're, you know, it looks like we're gonna have to replace them fairly frequently now. They come at a cost, I believe that's for a pair, correct? At $7,000, it's a pair of nets for the turf field.
Yes, that's a perfect.
Perfect.
So as many know, there's two parts here. Mooney Park, this is an older playground unit that it's due for replacement. It's about, what, 23 years old now. Some of the features on it have been difficult to maintain over the years just because it's not supported as much as it was previously. So we're recommending a replacement up at Mooney Park for that small playground feature of $35,000. In addition to that, we are recommending $30,000 allocation for Imagination Station for permitting purposes mainly and potential architectural designs.
You moved this out to the 2027.
Which portion? Oh, Mooney portion. Oh, so we're gonna keep the Imagination Station. Any questions? Moving on. This one I know we recommended moving, but this is the Della basketball court. This is really to remove the trip hazards that exist around the playground. We recommended moving this due to budgetary constraints through 2027. This is a mower that has been auctioned that we are looking to replace. It was no longer in service. It comes at a cost of $49,000. I believe that is still a recommendation, active recommendation. This is the fencing at Kiwanis Park. So it's portions of Kiwanis, you know, K1 and K2. As you can see, this fencing is, I believe, early 90s vintage, if I'm not mistaken. So it really is due. It's a widely and well-used facility at Kiwanis. That is my capital budget presentation, if anybody has any questions. Moving on to operating.
To ask my questions of really where we're at.
And if there's any questions, even at the end of this, whether it be operating or capital, feel free to ask them at any point, the end or during. So this is a quick overview. 115 miles of roadway, 18 parks, 5 township buildings and complexes, and 120 people. Public Works currently has 4 employees in the Public Works division. Parks has 7. B&G has 2. Roads 14. Equipment and repair 3. And the total amount of vehicles and equipment in DPW is 45. So I'm going to leave this one to Paul to talk about. This is crack sealing. We've crack sealed for a number of years, and to prolong our road network through the use of Road AI, as well as just the overall awareness of our road network, we realize that we've been a little bit short on crack sealing, and we're not preserving our roads probably as well as we can, to say that much. The asphalt that is produced today versus 15 years ago is just the quality is not nearly the same as what it was previously. So I'm going to leave this one up to Paul.
All right, so crack sealing, usually we've been crack sealing 3 to 4 years after a road's been paved, ideally once, and we don't go back. Reason why, as you saw in the paving slide, that 2020, 2023 years, we did a lot of paving due to the gas work that was going on in town, so there was a lot of paving, we just couldn't keep up with the crack sealing that was needed just once. So basically, some numbers, rough numbers that I've ran, we have a 7-year average for crack sealing funding, roughly about 3 miles of roadway at a funding rate of about $35,500. In our operating budget this year, we're going to increase our crack sealing so that we can start doing more crack sealing more than once. So in other words, road
road gets paved in 26, by 29, 30, we're there to crack seal once. All the cracks ain't there, and then three, probably 4 years later, go back and crack seal again to help preserve and make that road last longer than, hopefully get a 20-year term out of a roadway. 25 would be our preference, but like Steven touched on with the asphalt today, is not the quality as it was years ago. So in our operating funding, there is a little bump for crack sealing, but the purpose is to do more each year, as well as getting that application the second time to help preserve those roads. Any other questions on that, crack sealing?
One thing I will recommend there, which I don't know if we reflected it quite yet, is this is page, I have the same page number as everybody else, I have page 79. So page 79, that's reflected, the crack sealing is reflected under sub-account 2 and 3. Our recommendation, even with the words that Paul had mentioned, we had initially looked at it to be a little bit more than that. We're recommending to reduce that line item by $20,000. So there's still a reflection of an increase, but it's not quite as much as initially requested. Alright, so that could go from 258, 100 to 238. Thanks, Paul. 8,000, 20,000.
$20,000 decrease.
No, I understand that, but still an increase.
It's still an increase.
And I was able, also on here, it says 49 cents per linear foot. Was able to confirm it's gonna be 57 cents linear foot, so we're gonna face an increase as well in crack sealing for this year.
We had a big jump in that line item last year.
We did.
Looked like we went from 154, 165 to 210. Only expended, we're getting a year at 160, and now you're going to 258.
So, Jim, if you recall, and Paul had mentioned, 2019, we did significant increased amount of paving and landing. This is all the landing roads that are now up for crack sealing. We went from 4 and 5 miles of road to 10. So it is a significant increase. This is just to keep up here and potentially re-crack seal some roads. This year, from what we've identified, we can't re-crack seal too much. This is really just to get after the roads that we paved several years ago. Moving on, road department operating, sweeping disposal. This is a decrease in 26. Decreases are always nice. We were able to offset annually $12,500 from the Clean Communities Grant, which is a permissible action through their bylaws. So we've identified that, as well as the mechanism we are now using to all the sweepings. It has significantly reduced the overall scope and cost of this action, which is good. Safety equipment, minor decrease, $500, figure it, reflect that. Operating snow and ice, as you can see, we've had a busy year this year. Still less than some other years, but it's been a trying year in terms of salt, amount of events.
Yeah, patience.
Patience, it's not over. As much as I wish I could say it's gonna be 60 degrees next week, unfortunately it looks like more snow on the forecast. One positive thing I will say here is, Public Works is very fortunate that the council was able to authorize some technology that we're currently utilizing that are pavement sensors. Those pavement sensors, you can see at the bottom of the slide, are currently showing a decrease in salt usage somewhere in the range of 40% per ton per inch, which is significant. We're attributing that to, it could be a little bit high, but ultimately we are fully anticipating to see a significant decrease in salt usage purely from use of technology. So that has been fantastic.
Which is really great on a financial front and an environmental front.
Absolutely is. And I know we have already been at some level by the Lake Pacon Foundation, that our reduced amount of salt is beneficial to
Very much so.
the Atlantic Channel. Public Works, another increase that we're showing is mainly just because of the MCMUA contract at the recycling center. That's a 5-year contract that we recently engaged in. Brush compost, though, on the other end of it has decreased by 9,000. As you may be aware, we are now utilizing a containerized service, which controls the spending significantly. We are able to manage this very, very well. We're able to control whatever waste products are going in. So this has been pretty successful. We've been able to reduce that cost over the past year. Sanitation and recycling. Council may be aware that we are working on a new contract that should be starting April 1st. That contract reflected an increase of 7.6%. I believe, I have an updated number here, which is crazy, but that's a 5-year contract. So I have another recommendation to reduce that line item by $27,500. The county charges a tipping fee. Astonishingly, the county has reduced their tipping fee rate for next year. They're stepping in and taking over more ownership and maintenance of their facility, so they've reduced their tipping fee rate, which obviously naturally reduces our cost for the service anyway. So that line item can be reduced by $27,500 that way. That's a sanitation is page. The charge under sanitation. Page 89 is out.
Is the tipping fee part of the contract in addition to?
It's ultimately in addition to it. So it's a little bit unique. We pay the difference in the tipping fee. The reason we do that is we don't really want to lock ourselves into a tipping fee rate because it would just be escalated right out of the, from the contract start date. So we pay the difference in the tipping fee. The first year of that contract, we're going to pay nothing for that 9-month period because we're on a weird cycle. Our contract starts April 1st, the new one. So for that second 9 months of the calendar year, we're not going to pay an additional fee for the tipping fees. 2027, we may see an additional increase. It's really up to the county of what their tipping fee is.
So we have a fixed tipping fee in the contract?
No, we do not. No.
Base fee?
The base fee is what the tipping fee was when the bid occurred.
And we have to supply the delta.
That's correct. And ultimately, I think the township did pretty well with our sanitation contract here. You can see what the cost was. If it's on this slide or not. No, I didn't reflect it here. But the cost previously of when the township ran the utility, the township's doing pretty well with the contracted services. Oh, there it is on the bottom. It was $2 million, 2.1 million, right, 2.8.
It's not included the legacy costs of the.
No, it did not. So the township's doing pretty well. I think New Diamond's been fair with their numbers. Moving on to buildings and grounds, we did recently open a janitorial services bid. It has not been awarded yet, so we do have some budget numbers that will need to be reflected likely at the coming budget meetings. Janitorial was a minor increase. HVAC was sizable. That was 19%, and lawn maintenance will probably open towards the end of March. I'm anticipating around 3% on that. Equipment and repair. Parks department, we have some newer vehicles there. Obviously, we're gonna have a reduction. For our company 2 increase, we have an identified repair on one of their trucks. Company 3, nothing known, so that's gonna be down. It's gonna go down by 5,000. My apologies. Vehicle conversion. This request is ultimately, it was to try to keep some vehicle replacements off the list, so there's a small increase in vehicle conversion. But even though what the slide says, you know, $8,000, I am suggesting another reduction here of 3,500. What's that? Another reduction of 3,500 on that one. So that's the last reduction that I have for now. One item that I've been requesting for the past few years, the council may recall, is a Parks Department laborer position. I will tell you that during the last Local 11 contract negotiation, this position was removed or cut from the staffing levels to offset the cost of the contract. The one thing I will say is that the service levels and commitment to the township and the residents of the township has not changed. It has become very difficult to maintain our parks with the staffing levels that we currently have. I am recommending one laborer back into the Parks Department. That brings it back to full staffing levels as of 2023. I'm not trying to hide the cost here, so that is a full benefit package rate of what a laborer position would be for the township.
The current budget salary now, our budget is not increased. The extra employee is not increased.
This was cut during, it was basically done through attrition. So when Local 11's most recent contract was passed, the previous township manager elected not to replace that person.
That was actually done.
Yes.
So, never any discussion about affiliating. Usually the first thing we ask is, what's the rationale for it? Scenario of why we did it.
Yeah, well, it was removed.
So I guess try to find a justification why it was okay to get rid of the position, why we did that.
It wasn't my recommendation, I just did that. Excuse me. Every year in the Parks Department operating budget, we bounce between turf maintenance, where we do some sod replacement, and then we offset the following year with clay replacement. So this year, we're back into the clay cycle. Last year, council may recall, we did some sod work over at Horseshoe Lake Park, which is fantastic. This program has really been super successful. It has really overall helped the health of the fields. It seemed to work well. It seems like we've gotten really positive feedback from the users. So ultimately, this is this is going to be targeted at Landing Park and Nowron. As you may know, that we're also doing some fence work at Nowron. So Nowron's going to get a decent facelift this year. Guard shack improvements at the bathrooms at Horseshoe Lake, that's $2,500. Swing gate is $1,800. That is at the turf field. That's really to get equipment on and off the field on the back side of the field. So that would be near field 2, near the wood line. It's just been difficult to get things on and off the field on the far end. It's not something we initially thought about. This is really just going to be time and materials that we're probably going to do with existing staff members.
Why can't you just bring it into the front gate that we have there right now? Is there a reason for that?
It's on the front end, not on field 2. It's by the press box, and then the press box
Oh, my
onto the
apologies.
field. Right, so everything is now stored in the press box. And
Okay, so this gate will go in front of the press box, so you can just wheel it out of the
Correct.
press box and right onto the field.
Yep, instead of walking all the way down, because
That
that's
makes
the
a
only
little more
access.
sense. But if you don't do this at all, then you just have to take it down to the far end.
Correct, and we're trying to eliminate some other means of transportation getting onto the field and getting equipment onto the field.
Thank you.
That's it for my presentation, council. Thank you very much for your time. A little bit long. If you have any questions.
How much was that estimate?
1800.
Maybe just one comment on pointing out, we're pushing that level next year, okay, with that, it's not everything else is done. But if we're replacing the playground equipment up there, I don't think those basketball courts in very good shape. Those work
tonight, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record.
Robert Costa, Emmons Road. I saw one disquieting thing in the budget. We're talking about $2.5 million going into debt service for the road surfacing and the sidewalk repairs. Now, we've been very proud for a number of years that Roxbury's been debt-free. Are we talking this debt service to be notes or long-term bonds?
We haven't decided whether we're gonna get to that or not.
That's just their request.
So we are thinking about losing our status as being debt-free.
It's been presented as a possibility.
When will this be brought to the public's attention as to what you decided?
Mr. Costa, we'll make those decisions in public.
We will hear one way or the other, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Costa. Anybody else in the public have any questions on the departments presented tonight? Seeing none, I'll close public. Thank you for being with us tonight. Have a good evening. All right, this moves us to introduction of proposed ordinances. There are none. Hearing and adoption of ordinances on second reading, there are none. Introduction and adoption of resolution, there are none. Personnel changes, none. Communications, none. This brings us to our second public portion. Does anybody wish to be heard on any topic, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and we will be maintaining a 3-minute rule.
Hello, my name is Susanna Oliveri. I'm from Landing. Can you hear me okay? Great. I'm here. Oh, all right. I'm here to address the ethical paradox of Senator Anthony Bucco serving simultaneously as Senate Republican leader and our town attorney. This arrangement is statistically irregular. Only 1% of New Jersey municipalities employ a sitting Senate leader as solicitor. It effectively removes independent oversight. The glaring issue is the ideological crossfire regarding the ICE facility. In Trenton, Senator Bucco sponsors bills which mandate local cooperation with ICE. He argues that preventing police cooperation handcuffs law enforcement. He is opposed to New Jersey as a sanctuary state and states that New Jersey should facilitate federal enforcement. As state Republican leader, he has been a vocal critic of Governor Sherrill's recent actions regarding ICE, specifically Executive Order 12. Yet here, Anthony Bucco is paid by Roxbury town tax dollars to do the exact opposite, block ICE operations, specifically the location of Route 46 warehouse as ICE detention center. This contradiction triggers scrutiny under New Jersey's Rules of Professional Conduct, RPC, for attorneys, specifically RPC 1.7a, which prohibits representation materially limited by personal interest. His political need to appear tough on border conflicts directly with Roxbury Township Council's unanimous resolution 2026-29, which opposes the location of the warehouse facility within Roxbury. Under RPC 8.4, this creates a clear impression of impropriety. We are already seeing the consequences. Last week, a retired attorney as well as a college student presented findings on land easements and DEP ordinances that Senator Bucco was apparently unaware of. Another attorney noted that he failed to provide comprehensive discovery for his client, Roxbury Township, and citizens. It appears the senator is exerting the minimum effort required to keep the billable clock running on a case he does not ideologically want to win. Immediate intervention is required, whether through voluntarily recusal or removal by this council. Senator Bucco must no longer represent the township in this manner. We need independent, nonpartisan counsel whose loyalty is only to Roxbury, not caught between his political platform and his municipal paycheck.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sierra Wilson. I am your Morris County neighbor over in Mount Olive. I asked these questions last week and I will continue to do so until I get an answer or until the town council takes action. These are 4 questions. Number 1, have you spoken to neighboring towns regarding strain on water, sewer, and gas? There are numerous towns and townships that share the water and sewer systems which will be negatively impacted, including my own at Mount Olive. Number 2, we heard in a previous budget meeting that the police officers of Roxbury are given an hour of counseling a year. Will that be increased or be extended to residents when the ICE facility comes and we have to witness with our own 2 eyes women and children being assaulted, raped, kidnapped on the street and the ICE facility in our backyard? What will happen to us when our neighbors are shot and killed? Number 3, our governor recently passed a ban on ICE raids on state property. Will you pass an ordinance banning ICE from performing business on Roxbury public grounds? And lastly, last week the Mount Olive chief of police announced that they will not work with ICE when ICE uses administrative warrants. Only judicial warrants that are signed by a judge are allowing agents to legally enter either a home, work, church, or so on. Will Roxbury do the same and follow Mount Olive's lead? Thank you.
Hello, Bernie Green from Montague. As you know, we organized a rally yesterday at the Ledgewood Commons to get the community more involved in fighting this warehouse being turned into an ICE concentration camp. With over 500 people in attendance, suffice to say, we were not very much not alone in opposition. Among the people invited to speak was Councilman Neil Clark of Sparta. He makes it clear that he doesn't speak on behalf of the township or his fellow council members at every event. Because yes, he is an elected official and he is beholden to his constituents. But that doesn't mean he shouldn't have the right to speak out against injustice. He has the same First Amendment rights as I do, as you do. I'd like to share some of what the councilman said yesterday with you as someone who understands the same pressure that you are under. This part of his remarks was actually mentioned on the Rachel Maddow show last night, along with a video of the protest itself. This is what he said. I'm not scared of a lot of things. I am not scared of the death threats I've gotten and will likely get for speaking out against ICE concentration camps. But I am scared of questions I will get from my future grandchildren about this terrible time in our nation's history. When my grandkids read about this tragic chapter in our history, after they've read about the Japanese internment camps 85 years ago, I'm concerned they will start asking me questions like, Granddad, were you alive back then? Yes. Weren't you an elected official? Yes. What did you do about it? Do I want my answer to them to be nothing? Because I was too scared of people being mean to me on social media? Now is the time of choosing. To choose courage over submissiveness, outspokenness over silence, and compassion over indifference. The people that gathered here today are doing just that, and future generations and your grandkids will thank and appreciate you for it. Obviously, referring to everyone who showed up yesterday. So remember this. This period in time will be a pivotal moment in our history. When they mention your name in the chapter about ICE expansion in New Jersey, what will it say? Will it be to herald your bravery or condemn your inaction? The choice is yours, and I implore you to put the ordinances on the agenda for next week's meeting.
Bonnie Rosenthal, Randolph. Just a few things. One is I'm very saddened that you guys still have not made a statement denouncing the behavior of ICE. I also want to do a special thank you. I realize you're the mayor, but thank you to Chief Matt and Officer Sean and many others who were with us yesterday with the over 500 people. I also want to thank JJ, who I saw there, and your pup. I don't know if you were coming to, I know you may not be able to take part in what we were doing, but your presence was very, very much appreciated, and join us sometime and all. We're trying to keep people safe. That's all we're doing and all. Thank you.
thank you to the police yesterday for keeping us safe. I appreciate that. Yesterday, February 16th, around 7:45 a.m., ICE engaged in an operation unbeknownst to local PD just outside Savannah, Georgia. A pursuit resulted in the unnecessary and senseless death of Dr. Linda Davis. Dr. Linda Davis was an elementary school teacher and was dearly beloved by her community. If ICE was not there in the first place, she'd still be here. DHS released a statement in an attempt to gaslight the American people. Quote, "This vehicular homicide is an absolute tragedy and deadly consequence of politicians and the media constantly demonizing ICE officers and encouraging those here illegally to resist arrest." End quote. This is propaganda. These are the consequences of an erratic and violent paramilitary. Properly trained police would know that pursuing a chase endangers the lives of the community, and that's why we have no chase laws. Last week we had our first chase through our community. A neighbor told me they saw them going 50 to 60 miles per hour through Durban in Apacon, which is right by the animal shelter in the school. That's a 25-mile-per-hour zone. We just got lucky that nobody got hit. Vasquez Lopez had no prior criminal record. Detaining him was not pertinent. His record shows he was not a threat to society. After the crash, he was immediately charged with vehicular homicide and reckless driving. However, the agents that killed Keith Porter, Alex Preddy, and Renee Good are still walking free. Keep in mind when we're reading DHS statements that last month 2 ICE agents lied under oath. They fabricated a story about being attacked by a Venezuelan man with a shovel in an attempt to justify a shooting, so I'm not sure how trustworthy their statements are. Furthermore, we have to take accountability for our country's imperialistic nature that continues to present day and try to understand why so many people come to the USA in hopes of a better life. Since 1945, the end of World War II, the US has continuously intervened with bomb attacks, sabotage, and/or attempted regime changes in at least 41 countries, making it incredibly difficult to survive and impossible to thrive there. These people are seeking a better life for themselves and their children. They come to what they hear is the greatest country in the world, only to be chewed up and spat out once again by the same empire that destabilized their home countries in the first place. Lopez is from Guatemala. Guatemala was home to the longest and bloodiest civil war in Central American history. The root of that war goes back to a USA CIA-sponsored coup in 1954, which we overthrew a democratically elected president. The USA is directly responsible for the living conditions that undocumented individuals leave behind. We should be repairing the damages that we've inflicted on these countries and working towards providing a fast and efficient pathway to citizenship for those seeking refuge. Instead, the government's pouring billions of dollars into concentration camps and an untrained militia that are endangering the lives of American citizens far more than undocumented people ever will. Thank you.
Zoe Robinson, Andover Township. So last week's incident involving ICE required the engagement of Roxbury PD. I'm curious to know how many hours of time that incident accrued and at what cost to the town. The budget implications could be enormous if ICE's presence here increases with the development of the proposed detention center. I, and I'm sure many other people, would also like to know whether the town has received any requests from the property owners for any tax abatements or incentives in return for not selling or leasing the property to ICE. I would hope not, because such a request would obviously have significant budget implications for the town. If this is true, it amounts to a corporation demanding an advance ransom on 1,500 or more human captives, paid for by the town council and our other law-abiding taxpayers. This needs to be exposed, and they need to be shamed into their senses by you. And we are all happy to join you in one voice. Politico ran an article just yesterday about how municipal councils nationwide are at the front line against federal intrusion, with one local official even saying sand in the gears is the best approach that we have found so far. We don't need to be waiting for some ideal, airtight case against the ICE jail. We need to be throwing everything that we can at it. The arrogant assumption of DHS is that they'll meet no opposition. The more resistance is mounted, the less appetite they'll have to keep fighting, since they know what they're up against. So with everything we do, we have to be showing that loudly, you are not wanted here, we will do everything to stop you, and you may ignore the law, but we understand it, and we will use it to make this not worth it to you. The ordinances we've proposed are 2 obstacles that need to be put into motion right now. We do not need to wait for litigation after the fact. Through the courts and many applicable environmental regulations are several more obstacles we need to say that we're ready to use now. In Pennsylvania, the governor himself just warned ICE that utility use is untainable and permits will be denied for such warehouses. In Hutchins, Texas, another developer just told ICE that there will be no sale or lease. So this is a message the property owners need to hear too. They need to know that they have no allies in doing the wrong thing. Please be fully transparent with us about any conversations you're having with the property owners and introduce the ordinances without further delay. If those thousands of people are imprisoned here, it will be the living monument to what you all did not do today. Thank you.
Hello. Is this working? Yes. Hello, my name is Olivia Dorico. I live at 30 Gordon Road in the Berkshire Valley, so Roxbury Township. I just want to begin by saying that I reiterate the sentiments of everyone else who's spoken before me. I think there are some really cogent points, particularly about budget concerns and when it comes to the wastewater and environmental impacts. Other people can speak to those concerns more eloquently, more knowledgeably than I can, but let me just reiterate, you should probably pay attention. I am not uneducated on the law. I have a Juris Doctor. I'm not barred in the state of New Jersey, but I think I know a little bit what I'm talking about. So let me just establish from the get-go that ICE is not operating within any legal framework that I or any other legal scholar can understand right now. This has gone beyond denying due process. I mean, this is an all-out war on American citizens. As a resident, this morning I saw police outside. My first thought here in Roxbury was, oh my God, is that ICE? And it wasn't, thank God. But what if it had been? I was thinking, running through the scenarios, okay, gotta call this hotline, gotta get in touch with these people. This was me before I was getting ready to go to work. I work in an office, I do legal research and writing, okay? I should not be like James Bonding my way through the morning. So I say all that to say is I am just sick with worry about ICE. I'm nauseous at the thought of ICE coming to our community. I'm shaking right now, even as I talk about it. I cannot reiterate how much this is troubling. You've all seen what's happening in Minneapolis, and we don't want this to be another Minneapolis, and God knows we know you don't. Please don't let this be another Minneapolis. Listen to the voices of all the people in this room. Nobody wants ICE. Nobody wants ICE in Roxbury, and you need to listen to us now or regret it forever.
Roy Shancis Fort Lee. Roy Shancis Fort Lee. I just wanted to say thank you so much for everything you do for the town of Roxbury. I know this is not an easy period of time to be a public servant as a public servant, so thank you truly. And also that when you're a public servant, people generally only show up to complain, and these are legitimate complaints, but still, thank you for everything you do. Please, in the next coming months, find the strength to have those difficult conversations with people you work with. I have the same experiences where when you work in a bureaucracy, it's easy to keep your head down and pretend that things are okay, and they're not. They're really not. They haven't been for a long time. ICE is acting extrajudicially. The things that are occurring in Minnesota are horrifying. I'm sure all of you know. And I would like to see Roxbury and our communities be safe. And on top of all the budgetary concerns that you guys have, ICE has caused the city of Minneapolis to spend so much money just to cover the things that they've done there, the accidents, the insurance claims. So please do what you can, have those difficult conversations. Thank you so much for everything you do.
My name is Chris Tiro. I live in Mount Olive. I want to talk a little bit about the type of person that chooses to willingly sign up for ICE. Unlike our own Roxbury police officers and unlike the immigrants that ICE would be targeting, ICE agents do not live here. They do not pay taxes here. They did not grow up here. Their kids do not go to school here. They have absolutely zero connection to our community, and they certainly do not care about the safety of the people that live here. They are strangers who would be prowling through the streets each and every day hunting for anyone with brown skin. That's number one. Number two, you do not join ICE if you want to protect people. There are ways to do that safely. You could be a police officer, you could be a teacher, you could be a social worker, you could be a healthcare worker. You join ICE because you want to hurt people, because you fantasize about playing dress up and snatching people away from their families. You join ICE because you think that the color of your skin sets you apart from everybody else. We saw elementary school kids running for their lives from the bus stop home from school because of ICE. And last week we saw somebody that was getting shot at because of ICE in this very town. ICE agents are not good people. They are not law-abiding citizens. Many of them themselves have been exposed as rapists, sex traffickers, child abusers, wife beaters, the very crimes that they accuse undocumented immigrants of being, while we know that the majority of those kidnapped by ICE have absolutely no criminal records whatsoever. There are white supremacists. We have seen them with Nazi tattoos. We know that they are members of far-right militias like the Proud Boys and the Three Percenters, the same militias that were at January 6th at the Capitol. And now they have been legitimized and institutionalized by the federal government, who has put them onto their payroll. They do not view immigrants as people. They view them as the enemy. That's why they are comfortable with tear gassing babies, with assaulting kids on school grounds, with raping a woman in their custody for months in exchange for allowing her to see pictures of her children. This is how they behave at their job. Just imagine how they act behind closed doors to their wives, to their children. And this is the same group of people, mind you, who are upset about no-fault divorce. I wonder why. The agent's name, by the way, who raped a prisoner for months, is David Corvell, and there are many more like him on ACE's payroll. This happens every single day, and it would happen right here in Roxbury if this facility is allowed to go through. In fact, last month, Trump signed an executive order that removes protections against rape for trans people in prisons and ICE facilities. This is all in addition to people being denied medical care, legal access, clean water, and clean food. So when you say that you're doing everything in your power to prevent this, that you're against this, I don't believe you. There are ordinances that you could be discussing today, that you could be voting on today, that you're not doing. You could start by banning ICE from public property in Roxbury, which Mikey Sherrill has done on the state level, and many other communities are following suit. I have an ordinance prepared for you that has been implemented in different communities that would accomplish this. So who can I hand that to?
Thank you.
You?
I'm from Lower Berkshire Valley. I didn't prepare a speech today, but I am actually pro-ICE. I think they're keeping us safe. I think I'd rather have the illegal criminals in a facility than out on the streets with us. But I came here to actually talk about Imagination Station. I really love Imagination Station. Our community came together to build it, and it's a very special, magical place with all of our memories. And I think the reason that it's being questionably taken down is due to insurance. But as you can see from this room, the young people these days were very mentally unwell, and I think that an extra stab to the chest is destroying our beloved playground that we were raised on and that our community built together. So we're not going to fill in Horseshoe Lake because one day a kid might drown, so why do we have to knock down our favorite playground? Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Louis Shockley, Newark, New Jersey. As you can see, I'm not a fan of the current senator, Senator Buck. What you guys can do, and I never understand this, I work for two mayors, former Mayor Sharp James and Louis Quintana. And the one thing Sharp never did was took heat for somebody else. You guys are taking heat for Mickey. Sign an executive order saying that ICE can't go on public property is useless. Number one, they're federal. Number two, we don't live on public property. You guys have to get your state attorney general and your governor. They're the only two that can box with a president. They must sue the ICE and Trump and ICE administration. If they want to come to New Jersey, if they want to come to Roxbury, they have to go to your police department and show real judicial warrants. that would stop all this because they have no warrants. Every person they've grabbed, they told you they were this, that, and the other, and it's false. Okay? I'm not begging nobody for my rights. I lived in Newark, and the Italian section of the North Ward, I wasn't allowed to go. I couldn't go to Irvington. This ain't no long distance pass with my mother who passed at 90. I'm 63. This is still going on today. People are getting killed. People are getting snatched up by ICE. It's illegal. And you guys know it is. All of you took an oath to the Constitution. You should know what it means. Officers who get involved and who deal with an illegal act can be sued under the color of law. That's why Newark cops never bothered me at a council meeting with all of this on while he was mayor. And they threatened, and I told them, guys, I'm not suing the city of Newark, I'm not suing the police department, I'm suing you, because under the color of law, you cannot follow an illegal order. You had senators and congressmen, Trump just threatened them with suit for telling the military what they should already know. I gave this proposal to Edison and the Hoboken. They did call Phil Murphy. He didn't move on it. Call Mickey, tell her you want the state attorney general and her to sue ICE and demand judicial warrants. They're talking about coming into somebody's house with an administrative warrant. Can't be. Can't be. Can't be allowed. So hopefully you guys will do the right thing and make those phone calls and forward something from this council to her. If not, I hope the Roxbury people hold you accountable and elect you out.
My name is Jean Zullo, and I've been a Roxbury, I've been living in Roxbury for 33 years. And the idea of ICE coming here to Roxbury is scaring the crap out of me. Because even though my children don't live here, and my son, who has recently gotten married and moved to Pennsylvania, the idea of him coming here to visit me, I don't want him to. Because I'm not gonna feel comfortable with him coming here knowing that ICE at any moment could block him or, just kill my son and his wife for no apparent reason, for just coming to visit his mother. I am actually thinking that if that thing, building ends up being an ICE facility, I'm leaving. I'm not gonna stay here. I mean, I don't want to stay here, and I'm not sure where I'm going to go because I think in every state we've got this problem, and it really is a problem because you got to understand that this is, today I'm just going to tell you the story. I went out with this woman who I've known, but I've never really hung out with her, and we went to do something together, and she showed me a picture of a guy with a rifle on his back with it was kind of hidden, and he was walking on the side of Walmart. Somebody got a picture of him, and she said, Jean, if you look at this angle, he looks like he might be wearing like a backpack, but when you get him from the back, you can see he's got some kind of semi-automatic something. And where was he going? And where was he heading? I know we've got that homeless guy over there at the Walmart parking lot, and I've had a conversation. I've even given him some money because I feel sorry for the guy, but there's this semi-automatic guy, a guy holding onto some weapon, walking, and where's the cops? And how did this woman get that picture? But anyway, without going on and on and on, you have a responsibility. I don't know You have grandchildren, you have wives, you got husbands, you got whatever you got. And we've already heard the stories, we've seen what's happening here. We really need to not have this in this community. And you know, I'm trying to get people to come here tonight, and they're afraid, and they're saying, oh, well, you don't understand, you know, we need to get the bad people. Yeah, we're not against the bad people if there's, you know, rapists and really terrible people. But unfortunately, and I'll just wrap it up, you know, a lot of the ICE people are the bad people. And that's a big facility, and who are we gonna put in there? We're gonna fill that thing, and from what I understand, they don't even have the water or, you know, toilets, or, and when would this happen? Okay.
We have a executive session tonight with none.
Hi, I was standing here not saying anything, sorry. You didn't close it, did you?
Thank you.
Oh my God. There's always next
All in
week.
favor? Thank you, everyone.